Hi, everybody. Dan Catto, and I am reaching you from my home here in South Florida. It's just north of Miami, literally on the ocean, the shores of South Florida, here in the United States. So, my partner and I, Joe Garcia, we have got a very, very important message for all of you. This talk that we're going to have with you is going to be interactive. Joe and I going back and forth. This is not at all scripted, but points that we have that will, and the data has proven this, regardless of the market that you're in, just about for all of you that are going to be listening to this call, listening to this message, because it is being recorded, for all of you, no matter where you are in the NHT world, from the Far East, all of Asia, to Eastern Europe, to Western Europe, to Central Europe, to North America, to South America. Doesn't matter what market you're in, this call, this message is critical to your success, because what we're going to share with you is, and again, the data has proven this, the numbers have come in. Joe and I have known this for some time, but we've talked about this in the past, that we've always needed to be compliance sensitive in our world and what we do, first and foremost, because we're protecting the mothership and protecting your business, the mothership being NHT Global Worldwide, from a corporate standpoint, because we are publicly traded. We have to be sensitive to all of that. But what we're sharing with you are facts. What we're sharing with you is the data of why our leaders have had the success that they've had in their business, in our business, in your business. Why the leaders in our teams and organizations, and as you know, Joe and I, all of you are part of our organization. We've seen virtually around the world a constant, the highest ranks, the global ambassadors, the people that are qualifying for the highest checks, people that are qualifying for the luxury car program, the education program at the finest universities here in the United States, the luxury home program, qualifying for all the incentives and the promotions, the exotic trips that we have around the world. Why is that happening? How is that happening, et cetera, et cetera. So Joey and I are going to talk to you about it over the next, say, 20 minutes to maybe half an hour. And it's going to be interactive. It's going to be back and forth. So that is what we're going to cover for you here. So again, a very, very important call. If you're serious about your future, if you're serious about achieving the highest ranks here with NHT, if you're serious about becoming a global ambassador, if you're at all serious about the luxury car program, the education program, luxury home, qualifying for these trips, if you're serious, you want to listen to what we're going to share with you over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. So with that, my partner, Joe Garcia, I'm going to turn it over to you, Joe, for a few minutes, and then I know you're going to be turning it back to me, but again, it's interactive. So, buddy, over to you.
Dan, I'm really excited about sharing and doing this video here today for all of you, because it really does come down to mindset. It's been said that 90% of our success in our business, in our life, has to do with the mindset. You would agree with that, Dan, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
And this training, this video today, what we're recording here, it's really what we want to talk about is mindset and the practical aspects to the mindset when it comes to the NHT Global Compensation Plan, and to maximize the benefits of the compensation plan. So Dan, why Platinum?
Well, flat out, Joe. It's great that we're leading off of that. Why Platinum? Why should people start at Platinum? Start with the Platinum package, which is our premier package. Well, flat out, number one, it works. Bottom line, it works. And the data has shown this and proven this, Joe. Close to, it's showing 99% of the people that are hitting the highest ranks on our IRP, that are becoming global ambassador, that are creating the greatest volumes, that have got the highest commission checks, that have qualified for the luxury car program, the education program that you have, as we shared on the outset of the call here, the finest universities that we've got here in the United States, the luxury home program, qualifying for all of these exotic trips that we have around the world. 98 to 99% of our people that are coming into the business got positioned at platinum, not at ruby, not at emerald, not at silver, not at gold, but at platinum. It's a fact. So we would be doing a disservice to our teams and our organizations to not share this with you. I got started at platinum. Joe, I know you did. All of our organizations around the world, just again, sharing the facts and the data, that they got positioned at platinum. And the ones that are achieving the highest levels of success in our program on the IRP and throughout our organizations virtually around the world, and it's not restricted to particular markets, all of them got positioned just about to a distributor at platinum. So it's that's the reason. It works. It flat out works.
And why does that affect our mindsets in building our business?
Okay, and that's a fabulous question. Well, first of all, what we're finding is that the people that are getting positioned at platinum, number one, don't ever forget, people will do what you do. So when you sponsor someone into the business, the first thing that they do, 95% of the time, when you bring on a new distributor, baby distributor, brand new into your organization, they're going to ask you, where did you start? People will do what you do, not what you ask and tell them to do. So if you start at platinum, they will, 9 times out of 10, they'll start at platinum, or they'll get positioned wherever you get positioned. So number one, they're doing what you do. But what we're finding is that people that get positioned at platinum, number one with this is that there's greater retention. People, there's less attrition within the organization. They're more committed. They're more dedicated. They're working harder. The spirit is better. The attitude is better. They're, again, just more committed to the system and the model and becoming more, they're more teachable because they're more committed. So we're finding all of that is that people, just as far as the commitment to their business, their organizations and their teams locally and globally is much greater. But also remember that, the volume is growing. The checks are growing. The ranks, they're climbing in rank. But in doing everything that you're doing, what are you doing when you do this? People are doing what you do, but you're also duplicating success. So what are you duplicating? You're duplicating success. And then what are you attracting? What are you attracting to your teams and your business and your organization? Ultimately, Joe, what are you becoming? So when you find that with all of these disciplines, because our people are much more disciplined, they're much more disciplined, dedicated, committed, not only to their business, but even outside of their business. So we find that it's a great character building tool, not only for the business in their organizations and what they're doing and they're developing, but for them too as a person.
Dan, just a relatable fact. I was just thinking about when I got started in the industry. I was in my 20s. On a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably a -10.
I remember.
You remember, yes.
I remember very well.
The very first book that I picked up to read, because I wanted success. I could taste it. I wanted to manifest my dream, and I knew I needed to duplicate. That's what Anthony Robbins shared in the Unlimited Power. He had shared in one of the chapters on modeling. Find someone that is successful and just duplicate their mindset and their actions, and you're going to get the same results.
Right.
And that's what I did. As I duplicated you, I saw what you were doing on a daily basis. I saw how you got to platinum back then, the highest rank very quickly. And I was able to achieve the second highest rank within a year in my 20s, all because I did what you did, step
Yeah.
by step by step. And this is what you're talking about in terms of platinum. That's a clue for success. Get it platinum, you're going to, from a mindset point of view, from an attraction point of view, from a business building point of view, you're going to attract many more people at that level.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Mentorship is absolutely critical in modeling success here. We've got something that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've already done that. And it's just really modeling success. So, Joe, too, in point number 3 here is, and this is something that you've been great at in helping our teams and organizations, worldwide. And what is the single biggest objection that you have found and why people don't get positioned at platinum? I know I've got my feelings on this, and I'm going to share that as well. But you nailed this. You nailed this. And what is the single biggest reason why people just say, "Well, no, I'm not going to get started at platinum"? Over to you.
So if you look at the numbers, Dan, well over 70% of people, which what we call the masses, that basically have very little or no entrepreneurial background. Well, they work for someone else, which is a totally different mindset from an entrepreneur. So everything to them costs them money. So when they're looking at a business like NHT Global, number one business opportunity in the world, 24 years in business now.
Right.
Proven track record, 51 countries. We just launched our 51st country, Colombia.
Right, and it's the financial objection. That's number 3.
Right. It comes down to the financial objection.
The financial objection. They say it's too expensive.
Too expensive because of the value. They don't perceive it as a value, or they don't see it as at that moment as a opportunity for them to reach their goals and dreams. So let's talk about value, Dan.
Perceived value.
So you have a really good analogy when it comes to right?
Well, perceived value is hits on all aspects of life, Joe, as you know, and I know you're going to talk a little bit more about this from a business standpoint, and I think we'll kind of finish on that from a business standpoint, but just in life in general, it's perceived value in just about everything. I know my wife she doesn't flinch at spending $5,000 to $6,000 on a Gucci handbag or a Chanel handbag or et cetera, et cetera. People don't flinch when they know they've got to spend $50, $60, $75, even $100,000 on a car today, or spending $1 million and looking out for a $500,000 mortgage on a home. That's what it is in North America. Other parts of the world, it could be a little bit different. But again, it's perceived value from homes, real estate, cars, trips, education. If you go to an Ivy League school here today in North America, what is that parent going to be paying in terms of the annual dues to that school? It could be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year for one child. And they don't have an issue doing that. They'll find a way to do it. Again, it's perceived value. But let's take a look at business just in general. You look at a Class A1 franchise today in the United States, it's around $75,000 for a franchise. Most people, when they go into business for themselves today, well, let's go back to franchises. And McDonald's franchise, Joe, I remember years ago when it went over $1 million for a McDonald's franchise. Today, it's over $2 million for a McDonald's franchise. What have you just acquired? Basically, a job in running a building full of teenagers. Again, perceived value. When I went into business for myself the very first time, which was in traditional business back in 1986, it was nothing for someone to put up $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to go into business for themselves. Today, it's just about 6 figures in terms of a capital investment. And when you look at that, what if it doesn't work out? Because 90% of all companies, people that start off in a startup or in that business don't survive their first year. It takes, the handful that do make it take 5 years before they're turning a profit. Can you get your money back? No. but again, it's perceived value. So on all levels and all aspects of life, there's that perceived value of whatever it is that's out there that you're getting involved in or you're acquiring. So when you look at our business, and this is where you get into a lot of that, and you were just talking about the bullets. I think for most of our, and you really nailed it, most of our people, so many of them that get involved in our business are not experienced as entrepreneurs. And that really comes to us as leaders to help them with that. And that's why, we're doing this talk, we're having this talk, and it'll be up for all of you 24/7 that you'll be able to pull down in all of our languages that we have in all of our markets around the world. Again, it's perceived value. So when you take a look at what we have here, and someone from a perception standpoint, but really understanding the return on their investment, my gosh, you get started off as a platinum, which is the premier package that we have. We're talking about no more than a few $1,000s in your upfront cost to get started off in a business, in products that are only going to help you and your family just to have a better quality of life. But also with that, the leverage that you have from a company that is publicly traded, been around for 24 years, and all of the bullets that all of you do know. We've been here, for 24 years and well over $2 billion in sales, and being able to leverage from all of that. And we still, we don't talk about it a lot, but it's there. If it doesn't work out for you, the unused product you can still get a refund on. It's incredible. So again, it's perceived value, but to really know, not so much that, what are you getting? The opportunity here, if you are serious about having a better way of life, and that is in the kind of home that you'd like to live in, the vacations you'd like to be able to take your kids and your family on, the luxury car, all again, the trips and the education, but the financial independence and the freedom to work on your own and not have to, work for a boss or be employed anymore, to be self-employed. And a lot of the studies have shown that most people would love to be their own boss and have that freedom and independence. So again, it just comes back to the perceived value. So I know you've got some thoughts on that as well, Joey. Back over to you, my friend.
Yeah, so the perceived value. So how do we sell the perceived value? So one of the mistakes that our distributors make, and people in general when selling our business, is they're giving people too many options when they're showing the compensation plan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what I do is I'm going to bring up that I assume that you're interested in making and maximizing your income. That's the question that I'm going to ask the person I'm sharing the business with at that time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the compensation plan in a way where you're going to maximize the business model. Is that okay with you? Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to ask these questions that they'll have to say yes to. Who doesn't want to make money? Or who doesn't want to? It's like buying McDonald's franchise and say, well, I just want to sell the hamburgers. Everything is not going to work. So when I'm sharing the compensation plan, all I'm sharing is the platinum and the gold positions and the difference between the two, because those are the levels that are maximizing the compensation plan. Obviously, in most of our markets with the platinum, you can only participate in the IRP, International Recognition Program, and the Outstanding Performance Awards that we give out monthly at the platinum level. The only two markets that you don't have that is in Canada and the United States because of laws. So when you're sharing and giving them, I don't share ruby or bronze. I don't share silver or emerald. I'm just sharing how to maximize the compensation plan and participate in all the awards, financial awards that we have here with NHR Global at the platinum level.
Excellent, Joe.
Because sorry to interrupt, because if you give people the options,
yes,
when you're sharing the business, what you're doing is the mind is always going to go towards the least resistance, which is which is the bronze level or the ruby level, because of the financial. Oh, maybe I'll just try to get started at this level and then I can upgrade later.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know as well as I do, with that mindset, where most people,
Right.
it's never going to work.
Again, coming back to, yes, and coming back again to mindset and, you know, the whole philosophy behind that. So again, gang, this talk that Joe and I are having for you and with you is going to stay with you. We're, you know, 24/7. You'll be able to access this again, no matter where you are in the world, and we're going to have it translated for you. So those are the first 3 points. The last one, number 4, is that this is for our district. It doesn't matter. This is very important for you if you're just getting positioned as a platinum now, or if you've been a leader with us. And I know a number of our leaders around the world that have sponsored a lot of platinums, but their business hasn't scaled. They haven't duplicated. And then they come back and they say, well, Dano, it hasn't worked. And I said, well, tell me what you've done. And once we dug into it, we found out what they didn't do. And it does work. But the important thing is that you work it and you work the plan. And here's the plan. When someone gets, and this is key, what we're sharing with all of you, if you want to scale and duplicate bringing platinums into the business, being able to duplicate and scale success, and that's the volume, people climbing in rank, their checks growing, people qualifying for the trips and the incentives and the promotions, the car program, all of what's here and what's available. What is critical, and it's so simple, it comes back to the very fundamentals of our model when we put our strategy plan together. Remember, our plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you've got to have this very simple plan, because if it's not simple, you won't be able to duplicate. And that is critical, being able to duplicate a very simple, basic plan. So when someone has come into the business and they have gotten themselves registered, they're into the system, they've gotten their platinum package. The third thing, this is critical, and you need to do this within 48 hours. You cannot work with a person, is getting into their list, their warm market. This is paramount. And every single person, leader that I've had in my organization, our organization, over the years, Joe, where the business is stalled and it hasn't scaled, is because they did not get into their warm market. So they brought them in at platinum and they cut them loose. That is the biggest mistake that you'll make, is bringing them in at platinum and then cutting them loose, thinking they know what to do. They don't really know what to do. What you need to do is get into their warm market. I'll share with you what I did in 1988. My very first 90-day, my first 7 days in the business, and my first 30 days in the business, and my first 90 days in the business. In 1988, when I did not understand a thing of what to do, I didn't know what to do, but I knew to do this. And that was provide the people for my sponsor, my upline, my mentors, my coaches, and all of my support team. I provided the people. I just got the list. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. They did. I provided the people. They provided the presentation. So when you're bringing that warm market, you're a brand new person, and if you're a leader, you've been here 5 years, 6 years, even 7 or 8 years, and you're relaunching your business, you're reigniting your business, go back to your warm market, get into that warm market. So when I got started and I had that list of people, and I had a whole list of people, and I checked through that list of dissatisfieds that were on there. I had my sponsor, my upline, all of it take care of the process and the presentation. And Joe, back as you know, you got started, I think, in 93. I got started in 88. We didn't have websites. We didn't have the social media. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of that. All I had was a phone. And it wasn't even we did have a cell phone. It's the size of a boot, like this, back then. But all we had was a rotary phone that was on with a cord on the wall, and I was just dialing, as they say, for dollars. And I'd get those people, in front of my sponsor, my upline. I get them to listen to a videotape that's how prehistoric this is we have videotapes and audio tapes back then and live presentations. I didn't know what to say, but I knew all I had to do was just get those people in front of the sponsor, the upline, the process, the system, et cetera, et cetera. So for all of you and then, as you can tell how passionate I am about this, I promise you, I guarantee you, you get into the warm market of that brand new person, because that's all I did. I only sponsored in the very beginning, in that first 30 days, back in '88, there might have been about 5 or 6 people. I spoke to 500, but I ended up getting 5 or 6 people into the business in that first 30 days. And there was only really 2 or 3 that took off. And it was because we got into their lists, and then we got into their people's lists and their people's lists. What we did was provide the information. Joe, that was critical. So for you and your teams and your organizations, as you go forward, as you bring people into the business, as you bring that brand new person into the business, you bring them in at Platinum, you need to get into their warm market. And if they don't provide a list for you, one, they're not teachable, and they need to be teachable if they want to have success here. But if they don't provide you a warm market list, they're not committed, because they have got to be committed to our success plan that we have. And that's, again, getting into the warm market list.
So Dan, one of the things I would add to this, the most important thing is creating a sense of urgency.
Yes.
What most people will want to do is they'll want to wait till they get the Platinum package delivered. They'll want to wait till they try the products.
Very important.
And what I did my very first day is and you did the same thing. I didn't wait till I got the products. I just started because I was in business.
Right.
I knew the sense of urgency. I was the most excited in my first 24 hours. My focus was to get in 2 people as quick as possible.
Immediately.
The comp plan, you need one on your left, one on your right, and that will qualify your position. So my first focus was to get my 2 people in the business as quick as possible. And I didn't wait till I got the product. And I would recommend everyone that gets started, create that sense of urgency. They're never as excited as that first day they get started.
Correct.
And create that sense of urgency. Your goal is to help them enroll 2 people right away. And what you're also doing, what your sponsor did, what my sponsor did, is they showed me, just by doing it, how to do the business. It's a monkey see, monkey do business. And the more that you can mentor someone that way, by taking control over their first 48 hours, the first week in the business, you're going to have, more than likely, have great distributors and potential leaders in the future.
Yep. Great tip. Again, it's creating that sense of urgency, and they need to, and you need to help them hold their hand in the beginning, where that first 48 hours, yes, you want to get into the warm market, strike while the iron's hot, while they're excited. It's very interesting. A lot of people, and the data has shown that, where they seem to bring in the most amount of business, brand new business, is in the first 30, 60, 90 days, when they sponsor a lot of brand new people, when they know the least about the business. So, what does that say? It really says about the business, it is very simple to do. You don't have to know everything about the business to have success. You will learn as you earn. But in the very beginning, in that first 24, 48 hours, getting into that warm market. So Joe, just quickly in review, why Platinum? Because number one, it flat out, it works. Number 2, we have shared with you why it works. Number 3, we've covered the objection, the single biggest objection in terms of cost, and how to overcome that. Again, perceived value. And then number 4, how do you scale it from there when you brought someone into the business as a Platinum, and where do you go from there? So gang, we just so excited about our future and where we're going. We've got Joey, we've had a number of calls just recently. I know this call has just, when I say calls recently, we've done our calls around the world here just recently in every single one of our markets, talking about the future here of NHT. So it's never been bigger. It's never been brighter. It's never certainly been better in terms of opportunity. And right now, this opportunity is sitting right there for all of you. We shared with you the single biggest tool to help you scale your business, no matter where you are right now in your business. We just shared with you the single biggest thing that you can do. There's no other tool that we have to help drive your business and scale your business and take it to the next level. So
one last thing, Dan, one last thing. This is a great segue to end. Is, let's say this person that you're enrolling in the business has no funds, they're completely broke, whatever the financial situation is, then you can get them started at a lower level. But here's the thing: if they're really serious about the business, about developing a successful long-term future business, you need to create the sense of urgency where they upgrade to platinum as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
With a compensation plan, and that should be your goal with that person.
Sure.
You're doing a disservice if they're not at the platinum level, because they're going to make a lot less in the compensation plan.
And Joe, you can always find a way. When I got started in 1988, a lot of you know my story. For you that are out there that haven't heard my story, I was in a much worse situation than you, Joe, as you know. I was not dealing from a position of strength. I was in my early 30s at the time in 88. I was broke. I was bankrupt. I had just lost my business. I went back into the security of corporate. That company that I went with was bought out by a U.S. parent. I was massively 6 figures in debt. I had to move back with my parents. I went on government assistance. Again, I was going through a divorce. I ended up in the hospital for 2 months with colitis and Crohn's disease. And thank God for these products, or I wouldn't be where I don't think I'd be here today. But from a business standpoint, I was at the worst possible point and position in terms of self-esteem, leverage, all of it. I mean, it was just not a good point. And in my life, and certainly in my business career. But when I saw the opportunity and I saw what I needed to do, and that company that I started with back in 1988, where I cut my teeth, back then I needed $7,000 to get started. Now, it certainly wasn't a franchise, and it wasn't a virtual franchise like what we've got here today, but it was $7,000. In today's money, that'd be around $15,000 to $20,000 in today's money. So I didn't have 25 cents for a cup of coffee, which coffee was back then. But I found a way within 30 days to get that money to get myself started. And it was that fear of loss and that sense of urgency and just my commitment and my focus. And there was no buyback policy back then with that company. So if that hadn't worked out, I would have had to swallow that product and not got the money back. But I did find a way to get myself started. So if what you really want, if that is strong enough, you can attain your goals and your dreams here with NHT. So, gang, I want to thank all of you for listening to us today. Joe, any other closing thoughts from your side, my friend?
I think we did a great job.
Yes, you did awesome, my friend.
And again, this is all coming from our heart. We wanted to present this in a way where, from a business point of view, how to maximize your experience here with NHT, both from a mindset point of view, financially, health-wise. Dan, I appreciate it. Have an incredible day, evening, day, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Take care.
You bet. And we'll see all of you real soon. Bye-bye, everybody.